What up, what up, what up, what is happening, good people? Welcome to this edition of Herb and Two, alongside the ever-aging Tucson Warner. My name is Herb Howard. This is where we get together, talk about issues that are currently impacting the black community. We talk about how those issues impact us individually and how they impact us collectively, and along with your immense help, we talk through these issues in hopes of finding the optimum solutions for how we can overcome said issues. Again, overcome them as individuals, but perhaps more importantly, overcome them as a collective. Thank y'all so very much for choosing to be a part of this conversation. As always, your input is valued. It is certainly appreciated. Anything you want to add to the conversation, feel free to do so in the comment section. We also ask that you please make sure you like the video, hit the subscribe button, and set the alert so you get reminders every single time that we drop something on the page. Also, make sure you share it with at least one person that would find value in these conversations or add value to these conversations. Again, this is Herb and Two. It is the perfect intersection of intellect and thuggery. My name is Herb. His name is Two. Two, what's happening, good brother?
What's up, family? I usually say I'm blessed and highly favored, but I'm not. I'm depressed. I'm sad.
You need a hug?
Tired. I'm poor.
You need a hug?
I do.
Hug?
I do. I just
need cuddles?
No, just a hug.
Hug?
Just a hug.
All right, so you need a hug, no cuddles, life be lifing.
That's what you're saying.
I'm just saying, life be lifing, man. I feel like a lot of people have been sick lately, though. Like,
it's a bug going around.
It got to be some type of bug going around. It got to be like some type of
RSV.
Like no new world virus. I don't want the world to be shut down again by March, but like people that don't even be getting sick, like I'm been sick. I'm sick. I'm like, damn.
It might be.
It's RSV.
It's who?
RSV.
What's that?
Respiratory something, vaginal pain something.
Wow. Respiratory, vaginal pain.
Breathe in, breathe out. You know what I mean?
So what is wrong with you today?
That's what I'm saying.
Respiratory syncytial virus. Human respiratory syncytial virus.
Could be.
Yeah, I don't know. It's probably
It affects
Trump's
the
world domination
respiratory tract.
Anyhow, man, it's just been something going around. That's all I'm really trying to say. It's been something going around.
They quietly came out and said COVID was a man-made chemical engineering design. I'm not even bullshitting you.
Yeah.
So you put this now, you know, again, they came out with it, but they come out with it under the radar.
Sure.
And then they let the, what they call them, conspiracy theorists kind of push the agenda so it looks like it's not real, but it's really real type of deal.
Mm-hmm.
But what if there is a new virus that's coming out? What if it's all part of the New World Order 2025 plan? Because obviously we going into New World Order already.
Clearly, but look, you go back to COVID 2020, right? And you talk about the top 1% making some astronomical figure of wealth.
They made
in the trillions. Was it like
the
7
totality
trillion?
of black wealth in a matter of 2 years.
Yeah,
$7.9 trillion.
Right, in the top 1%. And so, if they did that in the test run, you don't think they would run it back?
So
I would run it back if I could.
Part of that conversation, and you know, we've been gone for such a long time.
The Bezos, the Amazons, the Teslas, like all of that skyrocketed during COVID. Mm-hmm. Like went to a whole nother stratosphere, literally and figuratively. You know what I mean? And so I them running it back wouldn't be off the table to me.
But even with them running it back, right? Like traditionally in the construct of capitalism, you think everybody's here just getting rich.
Right.
But what we're really watching is the fall of an empire. Mm-hmm. So they're getting rich, but not in the same context. So the numbers sound astronomical, but the value is weighted less. Mm-hmm. Right? So we talk about eggs is $12. Well, if eggs was $4, that means that dollar was weighted heavier. You know what I mean? So the dollars are weighted less. So when you see stuff like, we're going to see our first trillionaire in the next year or two.
For sure.
Right? It's been predicted. The world's first trillionaire.
For sure.
But that's quantified by the underweighted dollar.
Right.
You know what I mean?
As opposed to like Mansa Musa.
Right. Different kind of conversation.
Right.
But still important. Because if you watch any empire fall, and it's historic, you can go through any empire and see how they fail, you'll see that the dominant or the entitled or whatever name you want to attach to those communities is what they do is they make a run on capital and then they leave. You know what I mean? So that's what's happening right now. We're in that process of the run on capital. You know what I mean? So we in trouble. Those at the bottom are in trouble.
Yeah.
Like in real trouble, because all of the signs point to the fall of an empire. And we, our demographic, our generation, America really in its inception has never known, unless you was a slave.
Right.
But the citizens of America per se have never known a world where they were less than or had less than.
Right. I mean, you go back to like the Great Depression, but that was still in America in its infancy. I mean, comparatively, America is still in its infancy. You know what I mean? But we've built up this sense of world power and world dominance and the sense of American arrogance that allows all Americans to believe, oh, there's no doomsday, that can't be. And it's like, are you seeing this shit? Like, yes, it could be. And I think the longer people are delusional about the possibility of it, the more catastrophic the results can be. You've seen the Paradise joint, the show on Hulu.
The Hulu TV show?
Yeah, shout out to Sterling K. Brown. Phenomenal series. If y'all ain't seen it, highly recommend it, but also we about to spoiler alert it. Really, really, really good show though, man. And it was based on this catastrophic event that basically ended society. And in their version of it, there were like these seismic waves that was like high enough to knock over the likes of a Sears Tower. Like, can you imagine that? A wave come out of Lake Michigan and just knock over the Sears Tower? Insane. It was one scene in the thing where they showing like what's actually happening with these waves. And, you know, they got the reporters live on the scene. They got this lady, and she's reporting from one of the first areas where it was hit. And they watching it on the screen, and she like, yeah, you know, the waves are coming up, and they're this high and that high. And the person back in the studio talking to her, the anchor in the studio, he like, well, you guys make sure y'all be careful and be out of the way.
She's like, pretty high.
She's like, oh, we're on the other side of the city, and we're on the top of this building, and whoosh, come over that building, knock everything over. Buddy's in the studio talking about I think we may have just lost Anna or whatever her name was, but did we just lose Amanda? Hell yeah, we just lost Amanda. Like, and not on some lost her signal. Like
what do they call them? Tsunamis?
Yeah, but this was.
There's a video on the internet from India where a real tsunami hit.
Yeah.
And you legitimately saw how serious that and devastating that is.
And people trying to get down the street.
Yeah, I saw them just wash the city away. Just washed it away like in one fell swoop.
You can't fuck with water, bro. Ain't nothing you could do. If the water decides it's coming up, ain't no stopping it.
But even to the movie, right? The TV show, Paradise or whatever. Even
felt like a movie, man.
I didn't even think about it like that, and I guess I didn't pay that much attention until you reiterated that it was a tsunami-like kind of storm. Yeah. It's another conversation around the Trump administration, right? We in denial about so many things, and the cataclysmic kind of pressures of what he's snatching away from resources away from the weather shit. What they call the weather
Medicaid.
shit?
Oh, you said the weather?
The weather shit, yeah. I can't think of the actual name.
Meteorology?
No.
National Weather Service?
No, not National Weather Service. Just when the weather, you got to pay attention to the weather, environmental shit. It's another name for it. I can't think of the name for it, but I sound real dumb not knowing this, but it's that kind of shit. It's not just global warming, but it's all those things. It's like I'm not paying attention to the changes in climate control.
Yeah, you know they don't believe in science.
Climate control.
They don't believe in science. Him and his administration.
But this is also basically bad. But I know we're getting into the Paradise thing, right? But back to that fall of an empire thing, right? I always talk about I'm gonna move and I'm gonna live in Ghana and all that type of shit. I legitimately been on researching like, man, spots in Ghana. I can't afford Ghana. That shows you how weighted the dollar is right now. Ghana and America are neck and neck right now. You know what I mean? Like price of living type of deal.
It's crazy, man. Without getting into too much of the details of the show, the world coming to an end, the United States government, they've been knowing that this was a possibility for a minute, but they're not telling nobody.
Right.
They're preparing for it, but they're not telling nobody. And all they're doing to prepare for it is to create this fake society that they call Paradise for 25,000 people. The world is ending. They're creating a place for 25,000 people deep inside some mountains in Colorado somewhere, right?
Noah's Ark with one black family.
Yeah. And it's super, super wild because to step into Paradise, it feels and looks, for all intents and purposes, like a normal day in
Mayberry.
In Mayberry. But everything is fake. Everything is superficial. The sky, fake. Like, it's just like a light. They cut the sun on, they cut the sun off whenever they want to. Like it's all of it is fake. The meat, all fake, right? Everything. So in that, they still have, they prepare to bring the president, his most important advisors, his family, yada, 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 and whoever else they think is important. All the billionaires, and then some other motherfuckers. The catastrophic event hits and then happens faster than they expected. They thought, the science was telling them that they would have more time. Once it hit, we will have more time to alert the people and yada, 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 yada. Sure, that shit hit in one day and it was over that day. Like, this shit was over with. And what was crazy was, like we said, Sterling K. Brown is the star character. He's the Secret Service agent on the president's detail. He's really like the president's de facto best friend. His wife, wild as hell. He has no control over this lady. Not saying that she's a bad person, but I don't know that she was a great partner. He's telling her, babe, it's some shit coming. I don't want you to travel. Her job requires her to travel. She was going to Atlanta. They obviously live in D.C. He like, babe, don't go. And she like, nigga, I'll be back in 10 days.
I had something to say, but it just would lead us down the road to nothingness, so I'm not going to say it.
Hey, I just thought in the moment, he was very, very soft, and she was very, very ignorant.
You were ignorant. You just gonna go ignorant. Yeah. You're a coward.
Sterling K. Brown's character is a coward.
You're a coward.
Like, what the fuck is you doing? I am in the Secret Service. I'm fucking telling you, some shit is coming down.
She's a black woman, Herb. She knows.
Did you see?
They always know what's best.
Did you see Sterling K. Brown's his real wife? She was doing kind of like a
live reaction.
Yeah, live reaction to it, and she was like, you better tell me a little harder than that." Like, she literally commented on the fact that he wasn't, he wasn't really pressing the fact that you need to go.
He wasn't on it. Like, if it was me and my wife, for whatever reason, wasn't trying to hear what I was saying, I'm in the Secret Service. I will lock you the fuck up. I would have locked her up. I'd have put her ass in jail. Like, you're going to jail. Lock her ass up until...
An abusive black man. That's
whatever.
That's what you...
I tell you what, in 10 days, if this shit don't happen, and you missed your whole trip, you can divorce me and take everything. But for now, ain't shit moving. You ain't going nowhere. The kids ain't going nowhere. Motherfuckers is right here until further notice. Period. But they had already shown the scene where he was clearly the more passive one in the marriage. The little girl got in trouble at school. They go to school. I'm sorry. She in there going off on the principal, the other parents, all that, going off on him. And I'm sorry, y'all, please. She was with all the shit. He was not with none of the shit. But you one of the toughest niggas on the planet. But when they come to your wife, you, babe, I don't think you should go to Atlanta because the world might end and maybe.
Like, well, he's a sex symbol.
Hey, the man was in great shape in the show.
Okay.
You the one brought him up as a sex symbol. I don't even know why you brought that up.
I'm speaking it. There's again, right? I guess I'm looking at it from the standpoint of we getting outside of the show. I don't even want to do that. We're gonna stay on.
No, it's cool. Because it all goes together. Like, I'm not just talking about the show just to promote the show. I think there are parallels to the possibilities in society.
I think that's what they train black men to be. I think that's what they train black women to value. Right? All of it. Right? Look a certain way, have a certain aesthetic, but don't be that. Right? You're a Secret Service motherfucker, but you're soft as shit.
I'm one of the toughest niggas on earth.
Right? You do all this protecting shit for white men, but you can't protect your black family.
I am the #1 bodyguard for the most important person on the planet.
It's all interesting to me. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of messages that's being hidden in the window and everything we watch, right? And now you're just mad at this white man who you still got to be protective of, like you said, de facto best friend. Yeah. So he hated the man, but he protected him with his life. Yeah. Your goddamn wife, who you love, you didn't protect her with an ounce of vigor. Yeah. You understand what I'm saying? So it's just very interesting to me.
Because your de facto.
But also, when I say he's a sex symbol, I'm talking about outside of the show. Okay. How we deem this value. You know what I mean? And women find that they create an identity of his character via the characters he plays. Sure. You know what I mean? Sure. So it's just very interesting to me.
I think that, like, the fact that his de facto best friend, the president, don't really tell him what's going on, right? It's a national security matter. I can't tell you everything. But I can tell you, hey, You probably should tell your wife not to go to
Hey,
Atlanta.
hit her with the 5 hobbies, man. You ain't got your woman in check, man?
You probably should tell your wife not to go to Atlanta. I can't really tell you why, but you probably tell her not to go. But now because you can't go home with concrete facts, she don't want to hear it. And so you passive on your shit, she overstepping you, and now she gone to Atlanta when the world finna fucking end. And now the best thing the president can do is tell you, all right, well, push come to shove, we'll swing a jet through Atlanta.
We'll figure out how to pick up.
The fuck out of here. The world's about to end.
If she's going to be saved, the white man's going to save her.
I got it. Trust me, black man.
Hold on. I'll do this. Don't worry about it.
What have we ever done to you in this house of mine that y'all built? Like, it's like...
But long and short of it, like, the story kind of comes to a halt when the president gets killed, right?
Yeah.
But they start doing...
He got killed in paradise, though.
Yeah, he got killed in paradise. He gets killed in paradise. But they started doing these, like, you know how they backtrack memory scenes type of
Yeah,
deal?
right.
There was one scene, there's a line in the movie where the president's daddy says some shit. This was the hardest shit ever said.
Yeah.
Right? He was disappointed in the kind of man that the president was. The president was trying to be a teacher or some shit. Matter of fact, how you feel about that? I'm going to ask you that too, right?
You talking about the "Are you proud of me" line?
Not even the "Are you proud of me?" He was like, everything that you are made you.
That's what,
right?
that's what I'm talking about.
But that ain't the line I'm talking about. The line I'm talking about is when he started telling what he's going to do with the rest of his life. No, you're not going to be a teacher.
Yeah.
You're going to go to Kentucky. You're going to run for governor. I don't give a fuck if you're a Democrat or the Republican, but you're going to win. Then we're going to find this team and you're going to become the president. I thought that was very interesting, and I thought it shined a light on what power really, really looks like. So when we had it, I've been watching like political pundits all week talking about this rabbit wild shit Trump is doing, but then they went and harkened back to when we had a Democratic Senate, a Democratic House, and a Democratic president. They were like, why didn't you do shit? But you didn't do shit because you all the same people.
Right.
And we as the public, we keep fighting from the standpoint that this team is for us.
Right.
Motherfucker, you're crazy. And that scene was it.
Yep.
I don't give a fuck what side you join, we're winning.
Right.
Because it ain't about where you stand.
It's power.
It's just power.
Absolute.
That was so motherfucking gangster.
I think, like, you look at, like, George W. Bush. Do you think that motherfucker ever wanted to be the president?
He wanted cocaine. He did it. He didn't have no problem becoming the president.
But his daddy, like, nigga, I don't give a fuck what you want to do. Like, okay, you're going to go to this school. You're not going to do no work. Okay, we'll still make sure you get a C to pass. You're doing cocaine. Okay, whatever. You're going to be the president, though, my nigga. Like, so wrap your brain around that and figure this shit out. And sure enough, you know what I'm saying? And then he gets to be the president that navigates the United States through its first
period
home terrorism act, or at least the first one since fucking
natural disaster though. It wasn't like terrorism. It was a natural disaster.
No, I'm talking about 9/11. You talking about Katrina?
Yeah, I'm talking about the movie. I thought you talking about real president.
I'm talking about Bush.
Oh yeah.
I'm talking about the correlations. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's
and so it's just like, man, all of it was just very, very interesting. But even how they treated the American people in the wake of the catastrophe coming, right? So they tried to paint him in this great light. And it's like, man, now I gotta tell the people, because they had the last set up for the people. Like, oh, ain't nothing going on, y'all. Everybody be cool. We to the mountains. But in the last moment, he like, I gotta tell y'all. So he get on TV, he tell everybody. Naturally, everybody goes ape shit. Start trying to come wherever he at, they want to go to. They start shooting them motherfuckers dead on the lawn of the White House. They shooting them dead in the hallway of the White House. Man, get the fuck out of here.
There was another scene that was kind of impactful too, in that scene where they was recording the pre-recorded "Here Comes Devin Destruction" scene, and there's a black servant cleaning up the White House.
Yeah, man.
And he could give a fuck less about anything they was talking about.
Yeah, man.
And it was bothering the president because in his mind he was like, "Go home, be with your family, because you about to die. You're not one of the 25 that we value. We don't need cleaners in Mayberry."
He had been the custodian of the White House through 9 administrations. He's like, I've been in 9 administrations. I've heard all this shit before, man.
We'll be okay.
Yeah.
But I think it was deeper than that. I think it was symbolism too. It's just like how detached we are from actual government. Right? What it looks like to be a servant, what it looks like to be poor. Even in the fucking White House, we still detached from what power looks like. It was just interesting.
The president know your first name. He walked up on you and your president know you by your first name, and he's like, but you don't know shit. You ain't involved in nothing.
And he didn't know the president knew his name.
No, he didn't know that.
So I just think it's
so you still ain't never said nothing to me.
Right. I'm valueless here. That's very interesting.
Nah, it was wild, man. Highly recommend y'all go see it, man. Everything that happens thereafter is kind of just plotting TV show shit. Still very good. But I just thought the importance of, one, that dynamic between Sterling K. Brown and his wife, the dynamic between him and the president, and the dynamic between the government and the people as this event was approaching was wild as hell, man.
It's a good show, man. I ain't even no big TV guy, but I've been lonely as shit, so I've been watching a lot of TV, you know what I
Lonely.
mean?
I'm so lonely.
Yeah. Where we at?
Let's hop into a lighter subject, at least something that you and I would both think is funny. LeBron checked Stephen A. Smith courtside at the Lakers game. This was the middle of the game too. It was the middle of the third quarter.
How you feel about this?
I thought it was a bit of a show for LeBron, but I'm from Chicago, so I understand on site. But I don't expect on site from LeBron, like in a real situation.
You think it's really about Bronny, or do you think it's about Bron's ego?
It was all about Bron's ego, and I'm usually at least against half the things Stephen A. Smith say. But in this particular instance, I think he was right in saying that LeBron was upset about what I said as it pertained to LeBron, not Bronny. You don't like that I said you did some foul shit. You did some goofy shit, and you put this boy in this lose-lose situation. And that's what you upset about. Because I ain't really said shit about your son, except that you put him in a situation where he can't fucking win. He's not an NBA caliber player. At this point, could he develop into one? Maybe. He's having a good run in the G League right now. I think he's averaging like 21 points, 5 and 5. He's playing good down there. But at this point, I don't think he's NBA caliber. And, you put him in that situation. Plus, you was talking shit about he better than half the niggas in the league and all that. You put him in that situation is basically what?
What qualifies you as a man in American society?
Well, we've always said, and I still believe, that it's your ability to master the environment in which you've inherited.
So that might be our personal opinion, but I think largely society deems it as some different shit. I think American society deems it as your ability to take on responsibility and it's a number.
Just provide.
Yeah, just an age thing. It's an age thing, and can you be accountable and responsible, right? I don't think there's no real rites of passage for masculinity or manhood.
Got it.
Right, so if you got a couple dollars and you of age, you're a man.
Got it.
You know what I mean? And I've heard like a bunch of varying perspectives of this Bron Stephen A. thing, and I'm not a fan of Bron or Stephen A. To be honest with you. And I mean in every facet. I'm not a fan of Bron off the court. I'm not a fan of Bron on the court. I know everybody else got their own opinions or whatever. But I've been hearing this kind of, man, that's what a father's supposed to do. That's what a father's supposed to do. Right? I got a 19-year-old son, and I'm struggling and imagine, I don't qualify him as a man or walking into manhood at all, but I also think he's in process. And by being in process, I'm starting to detach myself. I'm letting my hands go. Some of these lessons you got to learn on your own. Some of these consequences you got to eat. Some of this you got to walk. You got to stand up in front of. You know what I mean? And you gonna fall down. The whole purpose is to fall down, so you can understand what it takes for you to get back up. And him and Bronny the same age essentially. Matter of fact, Bronny's got him by a year. You know what I mean? And Bronny's got him by a couple $1 million. You know what I'm saying?
A lot of couples.
The ability for him to fall and get back up
is different.
It's different than somebody who got $36.72 in the bank. You know what I mean? And I mean $36.72. You know what I'm saying?
and what is even the fall that we're talking about for Bronny?
Any. Well,
we talking about some talking heads on ESPN critiquing his basketball game?
Critiquing his basketball game. So my point is this. One, there's this kind of false comparative that people are having. Like, what other 52nd pick will have this kind of scrutiny? Right. What other 57th pick is named fucking Bronny?
Right. That's it.
Right? It's just part of the course.
That's it.
Right? You want to be here, and I pulled the strings for you to get here. This is the conversation.
This is what comes with it.
This is what comes with it.
I used to tell Jeff Jordan, Mike's oldest son.
I was gonna make that same analogy. They had that same kind of scrutiny in high school, brother.
I used to tell Jeff all the time when he was playing at Illinois and Champaign. I'd be like, bro, why the fuck do you hoop, dog? Like, for real. Like, why do you hoop?
You cannot avoid the scrutiny.
And he like, I just like to hoop. And I'm like, nigga, then go to the YMCA. How about this? Build a fucking court just for you to hoop in and fucking hoop. Because You can't win, bro. You go out there, Illinois played, Michigan or whatever, Jeff got 8 points. The next day, it's all kind of Jeff, weak as fuck, Jeff ain't shit, Jeff. So now we kicking it late, and it's like, bro, you upset. I get it, but why do you subject yourself to this shit? Nigga, you're always going to fall short in comparison to your father. You don't need the money. Fuck that shit, dog.
Well, it's twofold.
I just told him go play baseball. Your daddy wasn't that good at that.
I think that's part of the man conversation, though, right? You said Jeff's response was, I just love ball. Yeah. This is what I want to do, right? Mike never came out and said, don't compare my son to me. We ain't even living in y'all world. Right. This is what he love to do. Go do it. Right. Jeff might be tripping privately because y'all forcing me into a world, but I do this because I love it. Right. And if that's the case, the noise don't matter. That's man shit. That's falling down and getting up. Every day they gonna say you ain't shit, Jeff. Right. But if you love this, you getting the fuck up, Jeff, and I gotta honor that. Right. And eventually, them talking heads gonna shut the fuck up because they gonna see whether you score 100 points or 4. You come to play every day because you love this. Right. It's not a marketing ploy. I'm not doing it for the cheers or the boos or Instagram and none of that shit. Jeff said out his mouth, I love the game. Right. I know I'm not my daddy. I know I'm not going here or there. Right. Right? Mike never came out and said shit about his basketball career, him or Marcus. Right. Right? Right. But same kind of scrutiny. Marcus got in trouble last week for doing cocaine. Mike didn't say shit.
LeBron been talking about playing with Bronny in the league for like 5 years. Like the moment he got to high school, like, I'm just waiting to play in the league with my son.
But to the
who the fuck said your son was going?
But to the scrutiny,
like, you know what I mean?
I'm saying to the scrutiny. Mm-hmm. Marcus got caught tooting cocaine a couple weeks ago. Yeah. Right? Yeah. If he was random Marquand, right, we wouldn't have never seen that fucking video. Nobody gives a fuck.
It's a different microscope.
Right? It's a different microscope. Right? But it's not Mike's job to say, hey, that wasn't really cocaine. He had an allergy. No. It wasn't his job to do that. Marcus, you fell the fuck down. Get the fuck up. Right. Right? And that's why I asked what qualifies manhood. Mm-hmm. Right? So Bronny is in a man career. Yeah. There are 54 other motherfuckers that came out with him this year fighting for an opportunity. Right? Bronny's down to the G League, but he don't fly with the team. He don't travel with the team. He got all kind of fucking perks that every other 50 whatever number motherfucker don't have. Mm. You can't have it both ways, family.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah. He don't do none of that shit.
I didn't even know that.
He don't do none of that other shit.
Now I know.
All on the strength of nigga, when they did an interview with Clutch.
Paul.
Yeah, him. On Gilly and them. Yeah. And they're like, he's not this kind of a player. He don't have to go to the G. Yeah. He's legitimately a legitimate rookie, and it's just going to be that way. Like the rules have been switched for Shorty. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Different. That's why I didn't know about the playing shit.
Yeah.
Now, I do know, like, my brother was in the G League for a while, like won championship, MVP. I know that the accommodations are less than what Bronny is accustomed to. Right? Yeah. But if you want to be part of this team, you don't do it. You never fit in. That's crazy.
And this is a goddamn segue to that goddamn fraternity story, really. But we're gonna keep it pushing.
Now, that's wild, man. Stephen A. Smith he been responding to it. He went on Gilbert Arenas and them podcasts and talked to them about it, gave his perspective on it there, and he's been speaking about it elsewhere. He was talking about the fact that LeBron then went on and talked to Richard Jefferson. And while he was talking to Richard Jefferson in Boston, he was like, man, he challenging me as a father. So this is about you. This ain't about Bronny. You know what I'm saying? This is about you, your ego, your feelings hurt. This ain't about Bronny, man. Because if he was, Bronny could get just as many news cameras in his face about this as you could.
Bronny stand up, it's a different conversation.
Yeah, he could be like...
If Bronny's tired of them talking shit and Bronny comes out and says something, there'll be empathy from the world. Right. The news people will have empathy as well. They shut the fuck up probably.
How could you not anticipate this? How could you think that it was a good move for you to run up on probably the top reporter in the nation, the most well-known sports reporter figure in the nation, and run up on him at the...
But also Stephen A. Smith.
Yeah.
I think that's very interesting too.
Yeah? I don't think he would run up on Bob Costas.
Nope. And it ain't like nobody's had a different opinion on Bronny being... Or Skip Bayless. And nobody's had a different opinion of Bronny being in the league. I'm sure at some point, every other sportscaster has had these kind of
acknowledged the nepotism in his trajectory.
Yeah.
Hey, man.
And then again, and I don't like Steven, so it ain't even like I'm vouching or caping for Steven.
Yeah.
Sometimes he need his ass whooped.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I just think it's all very telling, man. And I think the responses that we have, it's almost like everything else we deal with, G. It's like the Eddie Murphy shit, the banana in the tailpipe. Like, we really never recognize what's really happening.
What's really going on.
We're always arguing some shit that's over here when the problem is here. I don't understand why the world don't seem to understand.
Or the real thing that's going on is over here.
Yeah, and we always got our focus over here. I don't get it. This ain't the conversation.
Real briefly, and then we can get into the tragedy from the fraternity. I was down at the NFL Combine, right? And to the outside, like, the perception is the NFL Combine is about all the college prospects going into the NFL draft. They come down here, they run their 40, they jump their vertical, they do their field work, they do these interviews. And that's what the Combine is. The Combine started at 10 o'clock at night in Indianapolis. That whole week. That's when the Combine starts.
When it starts at 10.
It starts at 10 p.m. Okay? All that shit you see all day, that's what you think it's about. What's really happening is happening at these steakhouses, at these bars, at these hotel lobby
Making
bars.
this money.
And it's all these
Making
little
these
conversations.
deals.
And so the moment when free agency opens, you're like, damn, free agency period, the legal negotiating period and tapping period just started. How they making these deals in 3 minutes? Boy, they ain't made no fucking deal in 3 minutes. They made all them deals last week in Indy, at these bars, at these restaurants. It's like, y'all think, hey, look at these little boys running around in shorts and t-shirts. All the big shit, money shit is happening over here. And then the moment it hit, now you see this motherfucker got traded from over there. Damn, how they traded from over there? Well,
But that's America,
they
right?
sold and traded that boy in the steakhouse a week ago.
In a few months, I think we're going to find out that TikTok is owned by Meta. Because I think it happened the day before they canceled it, and they turned it back on when Trump became president. I think TikTok is owned by Meta. It just ain't been publicly announced yet. I think it's been happened. Right? I remember this a long time ago. I can't remember who it was. It might have been like Charlie Rose. I don't know who it was interviewing Jesse Jackson. And they was asking like some questions about like black superiority or inferiority. And they was like, man, but you all excel in sports such and such and such. And I think the interview expected him to talk about some like DNA, genealogy type of shit. And Jesse said the most raw shit I ever heard. Jesse said, every time you step on a basketball court, the rims is 10 feet high. Every time you step on the basketball court, the court is 90 feet long. Every time you step on the football field, it's 100 yards. Right? The rules is flat out in public. That's the only place where the rules is in public. So you can't change
It's only so much you can cheat me.
It's only so much you can cheat me. Anytime the rules is in public, we fucking you up.
Yeah.
But everywhere else in the world, the rules ain't in public.
Rules is hidden.
Just like we talked about the Bron conversation. We can't see the goddamn conversation.
Good point, man.
Right? And even when they put it in our face, we look over here.
That's a good point.
I don't get it.
It's a good point.
Yeah, that's some raw shit to think about.
If there was a way for me to manipulate the rules and stop...
You can't win.
And stop two nappy-head girls from Compton from whipping all these white girls up and down the tennis court, we would have stopped it.
We'd have been stopped.
But the rules is the rules, and it's right in front of everybody's face.
Right in front of everybody's face.
Like, she hitting the ball 120 miles per hour. We can't send that back.
Can't send it back. But everywhere else, we can change the rules anytime we fucking
everywhere else
feel
we
like
can change it anytime we feel like it.
George, you just spoke about George Bush. The motherfucker can't get a job at the post office, but can be the president. Donald Trump got 72 felonies.
President. For the second time.
You know what I'm saying? Obama, if he'd have got caught jaywalking, that motherfucker wouldn't have been the president.
Man.
Right? And I don't fuck with Obama, but it's just the rules is different.
Different.
You know what I mean? It's just really interesting to think about.
Stephen A. Smith did just sign a new deal with ESPN too.
$100 million.
5 years, $100 million. Good for him on that note.
Yeah, salute. The best coon you could be, man, it pays.
Let's move on to this story, and I want to grab these notes because I want to make sure I get the name right on this piece.
It's two Calebs.
Yeah. We'll start with Caleb Wilson, who is the young man, 20 years old, that passed away during what we know to be hazing rituals as he was going through the process to become a member of Omega Psi Phi, also known as the Qs. Rest in peace to Caleb Wilson, first and foremost.
Terrible
Sincere
tragedy.
condolences to his family and loved ones. Absolute tragedy. As of now, 23-year-old Caleb McCray
Has been charged.
member of Omega Psi Phi, has been charged, awaiting more charges as it relates to this.
And they've arrested 2 other people involved in the case, but I don't think they've been named as of yet.
So,
and this is a kid from Southern and Baton Rouge.
So slippery slope, and I wanna have a conversation with the dignity that it deserves, but I also want to be honest about it. This is not news
worthy. Is that what you were gonna say?
No.
Okay.
I don't know that it's not newsworthy. I do think it's newsworthy. What I was going to say, it's not news to the black community. And when I'm talking about hazing culture is not news to fraternity. It ain't even news to white fraternities and shit. They do the shit too, right? Unfortunately, this one went too far, or he just had a freak accident. I can't sit here and say that Caleb Wilson was hazed the worst of any person's ever been hazed. I don't know that to be true.
And he's not the only person to die behind it. It's rare, but it's
right,
happened
but it's
before.
not. He's not the first, for sure.
It's happened before.
I say that to say, like we talked about before with other issues, the selective outrage and when we choose to become intolerable about certain things. Mm-hmm. And I think this is one of those instances because, like I said, we've known this to happen for a long time. We've known members of these organizations to take pride in it and to denigrate members of those organizations who didn't go through a similar process. And they call them paper or whatever else. And now that it's a national story and it's like, oh, it's a tragedy and they wrong for this, that, and the third. And it's like, is it wrong? Yeah. I'm not saying it's not. I'm not saying that you're going to find your way to brotherhood through punching somebody in the chest a whole bunch of times. I don't know that to be true. But a lot of initiations go that way. Whether you're talking about gangs in the hood or you talk about biker gangs like Hell's Angels.
Or the United States military.
Right? So we understand these things to be a part of our culture, and then when tragedy strikes, it's like, oh, what the fuck? And I don't know that.
So the only reason I even wanted to talk about this, right, because I hear a lot of people talking about it, but I don't know how many of them people have ever experienced any of those processes.
Right.
Right? And for me, it's just a rites of passage ritual. And if anybody knows me, right, I am a member of a Greek letter organization. Mm-hmm. But it's not something I wear.
Yeah, you don't wear
I don't advertise
like
it. It ain't even a big deal to me. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And I'm going to be real with you. The thing that drove me to doing it was I was just curious. I wanted to know what went on behind closed doors. I've heard the rumors, mm-hmm. but I want to see it firsthand. That's really what drove me. Right, and even on campus, you never really caught me wearing Perry. I was never that kind of vested kind of cat. Yeah. But I'd also be a lie to say that some of my best friends in life didn't come through that experience with me. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Right, and it wasn't just that experience, but it was the entirety of the totality of the experience of college. But the bond that we built there also kind of undergirded the rest of the bonds that we built throughout that journey. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And again, rest in peace to the young brother. And it is tragic, right? But it is a blip on the radar of Black death. It is a blip on the radar of Black death. Sure. If we was to acknowledge deaths through hazing over the last 100 years, sure. Chicago in a year probably still is more. And just street damage. And I'm talking about the totality of like all of it. Fraternal hazing. I'm serious.
Yeah, no, for sure. I would imagine... I imagine you wouldn't get up to the.
You wouldn't get, and there's a lot, and I'm not. I want to be very clear, right? I'm not advocating for this kind of behavior. I'm not.
Sure.
You know, I've never hazed a human being in my life, but I also have been hazed, mm-hmm. right? And I'd be lying to you if I said somebody who walked through that process and just signed their name on it. I don't necessarily respect that. But I also don't respect niggas who hit each other. I never did it. So it's like it's a awkward kind of thing to me. You know what I mean? Right. But there is some value through rituals and rites of passages. And it even goes back into the Sterling K. Brown conversation we was having about the movie, right? I think we're in a space where there is very minimal value for masculinity. There's very minimal value for manhood. And there's very minimal value for having to deal with any level of pain, having to deal with any level of conflict, having to endure anything that you feel like is aggressively trying to stop you. Mm-hmm. But that is the shit that builds the muscle to gain and move through.
Sure.
If you don't have any of that shit, you just a fucking baby.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You soft as baby shit. It just is what it is.
Yeah.
Right? And I think we keep aligning ourselves with these ideas, and it shows in every space in our society. You know what I mean? So just, and again, I hear all these conversations, you know, this, that, and the third, but you ain't did the shit. Right. You ain't walked this path, right? I'd be a flat out fucking lie to say, and we ain't got to do fraternal. We're from the fucking neighborhood, and we're from a neighborhood that is violent, or from a neighborhood that is at minimal, you got to have a skill set to navigate.
Yeah.
Right? And the bonds you build with them, if I'm in the trenches with somebody and I know he got my back, we got a different kind of bond.
Different type of thing.
We got a different kind of bond. And we've been tested.
We've been tested.
That's been tested. I know what he gonna do.
Seeing you in action.
I know what he gonna do. Even if he ain't good at it, I know what he gonna do.
I know what you're gonna do.
You understand what I'm saying? But if you ain't never been tested, you don't understand how that molds and bonds, specifically males.
Yeah, I'm not in an organization. I would have wanted to, if were the thing I wanted to do available when I was in school. But through brotherhood, through sports, through streets, I've come to understand
similar
all
experiences.
Those things. You know what I mean? I've come to understand those things, and I've come to value and appreciate knowing how you're going to react when shit turn up.
Who are you?
Like I just know, because we done been in bar fights or alley fights, or we done been on the field together,
niggas,
or we done been
60 seconds left on the clock. Yeah, all that. All those little things matter.
I would always tell my players when I coached, and I told my teammates when I played, like, hey man, we gonna find this shit out here at practice. Mm-hmm. We're gonna find this shit out in the summertime. I'm not gonna wait till we on the field with another motherfucker trying to kill me to figure out what you on. Mm-hmm. We're gonna find this shit out here. So stop all that this practice shit and let me see something. Like, I need to know. It's a tragedy, man, for sure.
Here's the nuance I want to speak to. You was moving on.
No, I'm still out.
Here's the nuance, though. There's a few things that I thought was interesting.
Go ahead.
Shorty's father was a Omega 2 from the same chapter, so he's a legacy. He fully knows what's going on.
In full support of him.
Fully support.
One, signing up, but also two, go through the process.
And going through the process. Secondly, the boy that they charged was a graduate. Now, I thought that was interesting, too, because I actually have been through this process. And there was a lot of nights when
the grad guys
come down.
And that's the worst nights.
And I'm like, yo, goofy old ass. But this goes back to the perpetual childhood shit. I do align myself with rites of passage processes as important.
Sure.
But that shit was always too much.
It was bullying and picking on.
It was different. And it was because you're an old nigga and you ain't done nothing with your life, and your bored ass is coming back to deal with college campus kids because you've not grown.
Right.
Perpetual childhood shit.
You come back here just to beat on me.
Just to beat on me.
Man that we
and
value
the shit was always different.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And the man that I am, I've gotten into physical altercations even in the process. You know what I mean? Like,
because
some of this shit ain't going right now. But that's also something to be said about manhood. Now, again, I don't know what happened. And what they're reporting is that he was punched in the chest and they had on boxing gloves. I know somebody lied. You know what I'm saying? Not to be funny. That ain't how that happened. Yeah. That ain't how that happened. Unless he had a heart murmur, and even then, I don't know.
The
if that's
heart is fragile, man.
Yeah.
Like his heart could have been particularly fragile. I don't want to speak. You know what I mean? I'm just saying the heart itself. Yeah. You don't know.
In general.
Shit, we all saw that boy DeMar Hamlin from the Buffalo Bills die on the football field. He didn't know. He thought I'm a big, strong football player. You get hit in the chest the wrong way, and he fucking died.
You're right. But I never heard of boxing gloves. I've never heard of padding. Let's put it like that. In any capacity. No, that sounded like that's the story y'all came up with. Y'all should have focused and put your minds together. Y'all are college kids. Come on.
Y'all should have
had a better story than that. And I'm not making light of the situation.
No, but lock it down and come up with a story that we can roll.
That's bullshit. That's not how that happened. Sooner or later, how that happens is going to come out, but that ain't it. That ain't it.
That's tough, man. You know that's really, really unfortunate.
But yeah, I thought the nuances of the story was interesting. One, his daddy being a legacy. Two, the guy being charged is a cat who wasn't even on campus. And he was like in a goddamn warehouse. Like, how do y'all get access to this shit as college kids? Like, every hazing event that I was ever involved in was at somebody's apartment. Somebody's at the frat house. You know, how you get a warehouse?
Yeah.
Right? You had access somewhere. Yeah. You know what I mean? But yeah, you graduated college, man. college days swiftly pass. Get off the campus, bro. Go live adult life.
Move on to the next thing,
Move on to the next thing, bro.
Move on to the next thing.
I used to hate when them punks used to come down there, man.
Yeah.
That used to bother the shit out of me because it would always be them kind of nights.
Yeah, nah.
They ain't got nothing else to do. They ain't got no girl. They ain't got no life. They coming down here to fuck with some 18-year-olds.
Yeah.
Man, get going.
Yeah. Oh man. Again, rest in peace.
Still tragic. And I'm not minimizing death in no way.
It's just
but
the relative normalcy of the behavior and then the outrage that comes after. It's like it's like the R. Kelly shit to me, man. And I don't want to make a direct correlation between the two, but how long have we known shit about Kels? And then 20 years later, everybody pissed, and now you don't listen to his music? Knock it the fuck off.
Or Puffy or any of the others.
Yeah. How long have we known this shit? We watched this nigga make motherfuckers walk to Brooklyn for cheesecake. This is an asshole. We watched him argue with the Locks over their rights to their own music. This is an asshole. We know this. Now, there's levels to that, and, stumping a woman through a fucking hotel hallway is different, but still, you know what I'm saying? We've seen him on murder trials before. On shooting trials before.
My argument is this, though. Those righteous amongst us.
Yeah.
If you really was righteous, how does this shit go under the radar?
That's what I'm saying.
Right? So again, I just told you, I never put my hands on nobody.
I believe it.
That is a true story.
Yeah.
I pulled one person out of line one time, and we just had a fight because he did some shit to my old lady. We just finna box. If you win, you win.
But you ain't
gonna win.
Fair.
But it's fair.
Right.
Right? And again, back to righteousness, though. I stopped coming around doing those processes because I don't want to be involved.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
I don't advocate for them, but I'd be lying to say if I didn't look at you like saying I wrote my name.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's an interesting kind
of
dichotomy.
Yeah, man. Kel said he wrote enough music for 25 albums since he's been in the field.
I heard that, but he sang like somebody had a knife through his throat when he was singing.
Yeah, I couldn't get through all the clips of the singing. I was like, it is, man. I do believe that Kels could write 25 albums worth of music since he's been in there. How long you been there? Like 3 years or something?
I don't know, because Kels can't write. So how does he record this stuff?
Hey, he can't read.
It's a Kels language. He's drawing music.
That's why they can't steal it.
It's unique.
It's hieroglyphics. That man don't know how he can't count 25. How he know he got 25 albums?
Hey.
He just got a one long run-on song.
He like usually it's this much paper for one song. I got this much paper. Well, you can't multiply either though, so I don't know.
That was definitely the first thing I thought. Like, nah,
He wrote
you ain't write that now. I mean, but he did. It's just in Kel's way.
It's a hieroglyphic.
He wrote it in Kel's.
He write it in his head and his whatever.
It might be down like maybe.
Right.
His paper just saw Pete's face.
Ooh,
Yeah. Everything spelled with a J.
Ja. Shout
Big Ja, little Ja.
Ain't no selling finna steal it. Ain't nobody finna pick it up and be like, I got a 25 songs. They ain't got no 25 albums.
That's crazy.
Hey man, Kel's 3 years. I believe he wrote enough music for 25 albums. If it's 12,
he wrote something.
Or
and he might have 25 songs, but he did not write it.
I'm saying the cell phones can dictate for you nowadays. We just sing into the cell phone. It dictates some version of Kel language, and he on.
Kel got somebody in there transcribing his lyrics.
Yes, he do. You sit there and
say
write this.
Ooh, I hate that I'm laughing at this.
Oh my God. Listen, man, I would love to hear it. I just don't want to hear it through the quality of a cell phone.
Yeah, I don't want to hear it over the.
Like if he could.
Who was the podcast he was singing to? Why did they get blessed with that?
I don't know. I feel like Kel's. I feel like people can. I feel like we could probably get Kel's now more than we could when he was on the streets of Chicago. I feel like we call him right now. Like we got 50 on your books.
$50, that is.
$50. We have $50.
I'm gonna take Eric's 3732 out the bank.
We have $50 on your books if you come on our pod.
Right.
That's what it sounds like.
Damn, so
even when he first picked the phone, he said, "Yeah, they said I was supposed to sing."
That's what I said. It sounded like he was under duress. Like he was in trouble.
$50. Sing to my.
Go sing to my girl.
Sing to my girl, Joe.
Go sing to my girl, bitch. That's what that was. He was a Mexican though. That was loud with a shake. He was right there. He said, I'm supposed to say to somebody. Somebody was about to poke Kels, G. Poke him one way or the other. I don't know what's going on.
He got to be. I hope he ain't getting extorted too bad, but
it's bad. It sounded bad. That was an extortion move, G. Somebody told me I need to call and sing.
Because how much backup could Kels have?
That much.
He ain't got no real muscle behind him. He had a bunch of people around him
and he's in jail for pedophilia.
Yeah.
Well, he's not in jail for pedophilia, but he's a known pedophile.
Yeah, nobody want to really be associated with it like that. And so, everybody that was around you backpedaling and started doing documentaries and movies on you for their $50.
Selling your ass left and right. Niggas ain't shit.
Yeah, so they wanted their $50. They start singing on your ass. So,
you know what I mean? His own brother.
It's tough, man. So yeah, I imagine he got to do what he got to do to survive. He said something about that his potential to come home is looking decent.
Yeah, once the man.
I don't know. He got 30 years from the feds. Now I don't.
Once the man started talking and said, I was told I was supposed to, I hung up. I was like, I don't want to see this under duress shit.
Yeah.
They abused the boy.
I was told I was supposed to sing.
Yeah, I was told I was supposed to sing, y'all. And it's like a D-level pod. Like, it wasn't like, you know what I mean?
I don't know.
I'm telling you, it was a Mexican dude with a chain to his neck right there. Sing to my girl. Sing to my Riaz.
Mexican got on boots.
Mexican got on boots.
He gonna write the song called Mexican Got on Boots.
Yeah, man. God bless Kels, though, man. I hope he makes it out alive. You know what I mean?
Hey, I do too, man. I do too. He didn't receive the death penalty, so he deserves to come home alive.
Yeah.
Should we get into some of this Trump shit, man? This nigga is wild, son.
We ain't necessarily going to get into that because we getting out of here, man.
We are.
But I do want to mention a few things real quick, right? Well, we just saw some interesting shit happen the other day, and I don't know when this is going to actually air, but he did kind of enforce the tariffs on Canada and China in different ways.
And Mexico.
And I think there's an assumption that China was going to fight back with trade tariffs around technology. Mm-hmm. And they did something very different. They fought back around tariffs around farming, right? And when you think about that conceptually, right, that's middle America. Those are Trump voters, right? And we're starting to see news clips come out, even around the Canada shit, Canadian shit, where they're not selling American alcohol took it off the shelf.
Playing the game with
right? The way that's going to impact and who that's going to impact.
American
from a business perspective.
Producers,
you know what I mean? Those are all middle America kind of businesses.
Oh yeah, that's all right. It's Kentucky whiskey money.
Kentucky whiskey, yeah, Jameson, all that shit is middle America business money. Farming is middle America white. This is going to crumble economies, bro.
It's gonna get ugly.
It's gonna be ugly, G.
And it's y'all president.
And he's hitting them.
This y'all president.
But also they doubled down on some military investment too. So they was like tariff wars, trade wars, or we can go to real war. I don't give a fuck. I'm with whatever you want to be with. And that's dangerous too because there's a lot of profitability in war. A lot of money and when we think about the fall of an empire like I was talking about early on, that's also part of this process. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So this shit is different, man. This is not sweet.
Living in different times, man. I still stand by what I've stood by since he first started talking about running for election in 2015. And that was, this motherfucker is uniquely qualified to bring the American system of government as we know it crumbling down to his knees. I never said it would be pleasant. I said it would get worse before it got better.
And I just
said I wasn't afraid of it.
He's more prepared this go round, right? And again,
he got nothing to lose. Ain't no second term. So we going all in. It's what I wanted Barack to do in his second term.
And go all in, right? What I want to be conscious of, that at least that I'm communicating, right? I said it earlier, right? When we had, well, not we, but when the Democrats had the House and the Senate and the presidency, they didn't do anything different.
Right.
So it's the same plan, right? So in order to rectify or fix what's going on in America, it's not a Democrat-Republic conversation. No. It's an anti-capitalism conversation. As long as exploiting the citizens of America is the goal of the American public or the elite, then this is the outcome. Eventually, if a catfish is what they call a bottom feeder, right? And that motherfucker will eat everything in that lake, pond, river until there ain't nothing else to eat. And then the catfish just has to die. It just is what it is. Until we see it from that vantage point, we keep having very circular kind of arguments and circular kind of fights. It is not this gang or this gang. It is the concept behind that drives both gangs.
Oh, but he took gay off every government website. Oh, they ripping up the Black Lives Matter street in D.C. They doing all that shit. Mm-hmm. I know that feels bad.
Yeah, that speaks to what y'all value. Y'all value anything that don't say nigga or anything that don't say different. You know what I mean? But it also speaks to the Democrats too. Because in the big scheme of things, y'all made gay or black or transphobia a household issue. Right. Those are not household issues.
Based on pure symbolism.
Based on pure identity politics, right? Talk about what matters, what you're here for. Government is here for to manage an economy, right? To protect the least of these. Right. Let's talk about that shit.
Y'all not doing that, though.
Right. Yeah, we don't no money want to do that because all of y'all is benefiting.
Before we get out of here, man, while we talking about benefiting from war, what the fuck is up with the Dipset, man? Jim Jones and Cam, man. Like, and then you get Jewels and Zeke, they awkwardly in it because they always got to answer the questions about it. And I can listen to Zeke talk about just his morning routine of brushing his teeth and eating breakfast in the morning. He is the wildest nigga alive.
I think Cam and Jim, whether it's a marketing ploy or not, I think from a very visual standpoint, I guess in regards to hip hop culture, I think Jim is the poster child for perpetual youth. I think Cam in a lot of ways is too. I think Harlem is. Right? Think about how they honor Harlem and what they honor Harlem for. We snap on each other. We do kid shit.
We fresh, we arrogant.
We arrogant. It's all very surface level kid shit. But I think Jim specifically is like, and I don't want to minimize Jim. Like Jim is from somebody who came as like the Flavor Flav of the group, if we being honest, right, to kind of a respected rapper, a respected businessman, a respected label owner. All this shit, he's used whatever tools he's had to get to these places, but it's always been in the vein of ignorant street youth culture shit. You know what I mean? And even then, he just did an interview with Joe Budden. I haven't watched it, but I saw some of the clips, and he was like, I don't know, he was making reference to something. He was making an analogy. He was like, if it was me, I'd get in the gym and look as young as I could look, right? That's very interesting to me. There's no value to growing old. There's no value to the symbolism that goes along with being older.
Jimmy got to be around 50.
Yeah, he probably a little old. Yeah, he's probably either
probably right around that.
Yeah, right around.
Give or take, he right around 50. And it's like you see more value in wanting to feel or look 25. And I get it. You had balling out, and you know that was probably a fun time for you, but.
But even his style of dress is very 1920-ish. And I don't mean the year. I mean I'm 19 or 20 years old. You know what I mean? And he speaks to it. It ain't like a secret. No, he thrives to be in that space. You know what I mean? I think that's what his workout regimen is about. He's like, get healthy, but for him it's about, I want to look this way. You know what I mean?
He don't do legs though. It's weird. He's shaped in a very strange. It's like because he show himself working out, and he. Up top, he probably do all his bars and
most New York cats. That's most cats in general.
But his legs like this big. And
but his legs strong though. He does do that one-legged. He can do that one-legged squat, and that's almost humanly impossible.
I ain't seen him do that. I ain't never seen him do.
That's fucking almost humanly impossible.
Okay, well I'll take it back.
So he's strong.
He do a one-legged squat. I'll take it back.
He's strong, no matter what it look like or not.
I'll take it back.
They're strong. But that's also that New York shit, man. They doing pull-ups on goddamn street bars. You know what I'm saying? So they whole workout.
Kiss 50, and he flipping around backwards on the pole.
It's a cultural thing.
Yeah,
it's a cultural thing. But again. Kiss don't show up looking like he's 19.
Nah.
Cam don't even show up looking like
his conversation ain't like that either.
At all.
Every time they talk to him, he just did Carmelo.
I'm embracing my age.
Yeah, he like, man, I ain't on that shit.
Man, the only thing worse than getting old is not getting old, brother.
That's it.
And we got to begin to embrace that, right?
That's it.
Yeah, that's some real shit. So I don't know, man. I don't know what's up with Cam or Jimmy, but I just think there's some.
And maybe they just using it because Cam Pod been #1 since they've been going crazy, and Jim Jones apparently got some music out that's doing his thing in the streets. I salute to both of the brothers. I'm just saying, like, I don't like to see brothers beefing like that, and I hate to see the position that it put Jewels and Freaky in them in, because.
Here's some more nuance, and here's some other.
I guess they getting podcast deals.
Here's some other nuance and some more interesting shit. We always talk about these characters like the culture or they of us, or they like us.
Right.
But you start peeling back like the lineage conversation. The niggas ain't us. Right? Jim is like Puerto Rican and like some other island shit. Right? I think Cam is too. If you really look at him, he look like it. Right? And I think oftentimes, like, because they look so much like us, but they're not us, they mimic our culture. It's like it's a different thing to live in it than it is to live next door to it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I do, but I also give them a pass because they from New York.
And that should be the least of why you should give them a pass.
Nah, New York is just that fucking melting pot of every fucking thing on the same block.
It might be on the same block, but we still not the same. It's like Thanksgiving dinner. All this different food is on the plate, but we don't mesh, right? When you go to New York, you're in the projects, you start smelling beans and rice, you know that's a Puerto Rican family. Because that's cultural, right? And it might be an abundance of that smell. It's still cultural. You walk into the Puerto Rican houses and these Christianity shines. That's cultural, right? That's one of the beauties of Chicago. This is Alabama, Arkansas, Mississippi, South Negroes. That's our culture, right? So although we might be in the same building, if you're not really living it, there is nuances that you may miss. Right? There's nuances that you may miss. And I think because the West Coast and the East Coast and our leaders are in entertainment, we deem them as the center point of our culture. And they kind of just mimicking us. They're mimicking us, mimicking them. It's like a circular thing. But ain't nothing a genuine thing. Yeah, ain't nothing a genuine thing. None is a genuine article. Yeah. And then when you think it, you pull back layers, like you look at the real, you know these is Mississippi, Arkansas kind of Negroes that in that same age bracket, they come off a little different. Yeah. But we never compare and contrast, right? We'll never get that from Common.
No.
We'll never get that energy from Common. We'll get that energy from Mos Def. And Mos Def's a New York cat, but they Negro. You know what I'm saying? We don't get it from Tyler. Think about where their minds are at. And we can go to gangster shit.
Yeah, I was gonna say them elevated Negroes.
Let's go to Ice Cube because he was on gangster shit.
Sure.
As I grow and elevate to a certain level, I just become a player in community, just like all the old gangsters in real life do.
True.
It be these nuances that we miss. You know, Eazy-E, even though he died young age, he was never that. Even when he had problems, he was, you know. It's very interesting when you think about it, G.
No, that's real.
It's very interesting.
That'll do it for the conversation today, man. Thank y'all for tuning in. Appreciate y'all's input. Any comments that y'all left, please make sure you like the video. Make sure you share the video with at least one person. Great to be back with y'all, man. It's been a little minute.
And we're growing immensely and tremendously. We have a whole new design and plan to approach this podcast space, man. So if you like to be partnered with us or you want to hit us on the email about advertising, man, you can hit us at htisaid@gmail.com. We're looking to expand the platform, grow the advertising space, and build some different kind of conversations and partnerships with people in our community, man. So hit us anytime.
Send $50 if you want to hear Kels on the next episode. We got to go.
And no Puerto Rican with a shake. That's all you need.
Shout out to P for doing all the hard work behind the camera. Shout out to E4O for being E4O. For two, my name Herb. Y'all be good to each other. Peace.
Assalamu alaikum.